Let's do this intro. What's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode of Midcurve. I don't know what episode it is, doesn't matter. But today we have an awesome guest that we've had on the show before. Farhaj, he is a brilliant Solana mind slash founder slash just overall good person. So, sir, welcome back to the
Thank you,
show.
Habibi. Absolute honor to be back.
What does Habibi mean? Is that like brother?
It's like a kind of a flexible word.
Okay.
It's like someone you care for. The direct
Okay.
translation is like love, but it's like brotherly love
Yeah.
type vibe. Yeah.
Okay. It's funny because
Yeah.
I've seen people say it all the time. I have no idea what it what it means.
Yeah. Yeah. In the Middle East, I mean, they use it for basically everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right, man. Let's jump into this. Let's cut to the chase.
Facts.
Well, actually, I do want to lay a little bit of groundwork for people who didn't watch the last show. Can you give a little bit of your background? Because today we're going to be talking about founders, building better founders, building and just how do we become better people so that we can build better products so we can bring more people in, right? So can you give me a
Totally.
little bit of your background because I think that would provide some context.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm Farhaj. I'm a co-founder of Forma. We're developing Solana Economic Zones, basically where we work with countries to create progressive regulations to make it easier for crypto startups and founders to succeed. And then previously, I was part of the founding team of Buildspace. We were the world's largest tuition-free school for entrepreneurs. So
Yep.
I've been nerding out a lot about Solana and people starting to work on things they care about for a long time.
That's awesome. So first of all, I didn't even know about Buildspace until you told me about it. I'm just out of the loop. I'm so deep in the Solana rabbit hole.
Yeah.
you know, no time for anything else. But Buildspace, once you told me about it, I looked into it. Super cool. Like super
Yeah.
cool company, mission, vision, community. It was like I was actually kind of blown away with how cool
Yeah.
it was. Now, can you tell me how did that happen? How did you guys get there?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. So for me personally, I just moved on from my last startup, having an existential identity crisis, trying to figure out what to do with my life. And then I think 6 to 8 months prior to that, I was already like crypto pilled, or most likely like Solana pilled, by like Edgar and Barrett. And so me and my really good buddy Aaron, who's a D Gods now, like we were just like doing a bunch of stuff on Solana. At first it was like minting NFTs, and then it was just like participating and just kind of learning about the ecosystem as much as we could. And so, yeah, when I first discovered Buildspace, because I was like, okay, I'm going to spend the next, n number of years working on something I'm really excited about, and I wanted to be in crypto, but I wanted to be in some sort of like area I'm really interested in. And so when they first started off, they actually were building developer education content. So they made
Hmm.
this like Solidity tutorial. They didn't plan to build anything Web3. They were basically like Alec and Farza were kind of like the earliest people on the team. They were like, developer education is boring as hell. They were like, Alec loves like metal music, and Farza likes to like skateboard and play League of Legends. He was like a competitive Super Smash Bros. Player. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people have a non-traditional path, but also love to like code and build stuff. And so they were like, well, there are tens of thousands of people tuning into live streams to watch people do all sorts of funny stuff. If we had a little bit of a personality and we're genuine, maybe they'd be interested in learning how to code with us. And so I think the first tutorial Alec built was something around like building something on AWS or something like that, something super simple, like building a game using AWS. They didn't get many people interested, and then they built another tutorial that was like Web2 oriented. People weren't interested, and Alec was like in a lot of like Hacker News threads, seeing people like talk about like Web3 at the time. So he kind of like deployed his first like Ethereum smart contract, and I was like, oh, it's pretty interesting, and then just like posted a tutorial and like a handful of these like Discord groups in colleges, like Web3 groups, and it just went like super viral. And so it's like 2 months, they got like 30,000 people building like smart contracts, and they're like, oh shit, I guess I'll turn this into a product. And so that's kind of what I saw Build Space. I was like, this is really cool. There's just like thousands of people in the Discord, like pulling up every Friday to like kind of like see Alec like talk about this project, and then spend the weekend like building and shipping something and like kind of showing it off in public. And so I joined the team, and then we spent a lot of time actually building a lot of open source Solana developer education stuff. But then Buildspace kind of naturally evolved. So at first we were helping people build and deploy to like testnet, and then build full fledged products, and then AI started to become very interesting for our audience, and so we launched AI. And then before we knew it, people were like done doing weekend builds, and they were like, "Yo, I want to figure out like how to like make money with my idea." And I'm kind of like tired of this whole like no one wanted to go the Y Combinator like build $1 billion company route. They're like, if I could just like make a few $100s, $1,000, something like off of this, like that'd be cool. So that's actually how Nights and Weekends first started, where we were like looking at the journey of our users. They would first come in, learn like an entry level tutorial, then they would learn something a little bit more sophisticated. Then they became really good developers, but they were having a hard time getting a job. And so we're like, okay, we create a program that teaches them how to build like internet products and then get their first 100 like users, right? Strangers to use our product. And so that's kind of how Nights and Weekends was born. The idea is like, oh, we know you have a full time job or you're going to college or something like that, but you can come here to this like internet school, and we'll put you around a bunch of other strangers who are interested in kind of working on whatever they care about too, and then collectively together, week over week, we'll tell you how to build your idea in public and hopefully get like a toy version of your idea shipped to the internet, and get strangers to care about this and hopefully make your first dollar on the internet in 6 weeks. Right. And so it's crazy. I think the first Nights and Weeks program, we had like 500 people in it and only 50 graduated. And then the last one, they had 70,000 people in it. And so I think in the kind of history of Buildspace, like 200,000 people or something, like went through Buildspace's like educational stuff. But I think really what made it special was the culture, though. Like even if you
Yeah.
see the content and the images and the lore, like we spent a lot of time just building some like cultural depth to make this like they're kind of like in Hogwarts type of feel,
Yeah.
on the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. So my question is, oh, first of all, okay, so I have a bunch of questions about this. But how did this work practically, like the nights and weekends thing and like the build in 6 weeks type thing? How did that work? Were people just like showing up to live streams? Did they have to pay for it?
Yeah.
Um, was there
Good
like some
question.
kind of like syllabus that they had to follow and like homework assignments that they had to turn in?
Yeah, it's a good question. So for the most part, it was like self-led learning, but we
Hmm.
built a lot of these like social experiments that help people that made it kind of like a little bit multiplayer. So it was a 6 week program. I think how the curriculum was designed is we had like 3 points of interaction every week. So we'd have one lecture, one lab, and then one sort of like fun fireside or office hours with like a cool builder that they usually wouldn't get to like personally interact with. And
Hmm.
so that was like the format that we forked over 6 weeks, and each week would have a theme. Right, the first week was just kind of like motivation. So we would like kind of just like really level people up, like hype them up, and like let them know that they're not alone, and just congratulate them on even just submitting an application to be there.
Hmm.
And then make them like tweet a bunch of cool stuff and get hyped up. And the second week usually was about like building a toy version of their idea. So we would show like, Taylor Swift, before she makes a fully produced album, makes a 30-second hook, just sing the song out on Apple voice notes and send it to her friends to get feedback, and show them like what Super Smash Bros. Looked like at first. It was just like a bunch of toy soldiers fighting against each other on a shitty looking screen. And be like, okay, like you don't need to go to the end state. Let's build something like small. And actually, in the first week, we make them do a one-line explanation of their idea, whatever idea that they
Hmm.
had. And it's crazy. So you have like, we always broke Figma because we would make a public Figma board and have like 7,000, 10,000 people come from the live stream. And you see all these arrows moving around, like editing these cards that they would like reduplicate and make for them. And then they would all go post that on Twitter and engage with each other.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, so we'd have these three interactions every weekend. The idea is you work on your thing on the weekend, and by Sunday, you submit your homework, which is like a very simple assignment to do that week. And then week two, we teach them how to make a tweet, literally, how to tweet well, how to make like a 45-second demo of your idea so you can present it to a stranger. The week after that, we teach them about analytics and how to set up like a really simple website for their thing so they can actually get data and measure their progress. And then week five, we basically make them get encouraged to make a demo of their product. And then in 6 they submit that. and then we have graduation and some cool like magical moments. So that was like the idea. It's very simple, and we kind of
Hmm.
forced the programming to be making people be extremely minimalistic with how they built stuff. And then usually what would happen is a lot of these people would just end up going viral on the internet. And we even had like instances where there was like this girl who was selling like spilled coffee bookmarks, like that
Oh, I
you put
saw
in a
that.
book. Yeah, and she's making like $250,000, something like that. Like, we had people build AI apps that grew to millions. Like this creator, Mylene, she graduated from University of Waterloo as an engineer and was like having a big identity crisis about what to do with her life. And she's like, I guess I'll start making content about my identity crisis. And she kind of blew up on Instagram and recently like was on like Forbes Creator Summit. And it's like it's crazy to see, it's like all these people on the internet kind of start to,
Yeah,
I don't know,
that
do cool
is
shit.
that is actually really cool. Yeah, I mean, it's like everything that I've been thinking about and like trying to figure out. Um, like just trying to figure out how to like structure this and build a grassroots community. Like all this
Yeah.
stuff is like it's perfect for it. Also, I think it's just. Do you think people would be interested in this in crypto and like you know exactly what you're saying, but more
Yeah.
specific to like building crypto products? Do they need more? Do you think they need more education? Do you think people should be building in public more? Do you think people should be doing what Mert does, which is like, spin
Yeah.
up these apps really quick on, on like a live stream type thing? And
Yeah.
do you think that's useful or and would work or no?
100%. I mean, it's funny because if you look at even Coliseum, technically the way it's structured is it's like a 6 week sprint, right?
Yeah,
And then you submit your project, and then you go through this like large scale hackathon. A lot of people win dedicated prizes. Some of them get funded.
yeah,
It's crazy. It's actually, I'm pretty sure like the first ever Nights and Weekends we did, Maddie from Solana sponsored it. And so
yeah.
that was like the like Web3 accelerator or like tournament program we were doing. And he has like a lot of really great insights. But yeah, I think it'll work really well. In my opinion, like it's not just crypto. Uniquely with Solana in particular, um, there's such a large ecosystem of creators, artists, hardware products. Like people aren't building like crypto startups. I think people are building startups, and then the financial infrastructure they're choosing today is Solana. And so it's so funny. I used to always tell like back in the day to the team, like I felt like Buildspace and Solana actually had like perfect one-on-one alignment. So I think a fork of Buildspace would actually work really well on Solana. And people, honestly, what they're not, what, I don't think what they're missing is the technical skills to build products, right? It's what they're missing is the soft skills to make people aware of their products and kind of build like a really good community around it. Kind of design it minimum viable aesthetic way. All of
Hmm.
these things that kind of make a difference and add a level of polish to some of these people. I also think from most of the ecosystems, Solana definitely has the best like San Francisco-esque like hacker culture where people build, iterate in public very quickly. But they're learning all in real time by observing other people, right? They're like kind of like the Virgil Abloh way, like the best artist copy. So
Yep.
they'll see like Monk Mode Bob's video and be like, oh damn, this is how he wrote that thread. This is how Toli's doing quote tweets. And, this is how they made that video and tried to make a fork of it. But I think there are like simple frameworks we can give to increase the average level of soft skills where these builders are coming to Solana. Because then what then happens is that it increases the likelihood of them getting discovered, in a place like X where there's a social graph of N. Who
Yeah.
knows what other product could go like freaking viral?
Yep. Yep, that's exactly right. Can you so like what were you've mentioned like, kind of social engineering or social experiments like that you did to grow build space. I know you mentioned one to me off air, but could you maybe
Yeah,
talk about like some growth strategies that you guys use? Maybe like one or two, just growth strategies that you use to really
yeah.
like yeah, hack growth.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stavin from our team and like Jeffrey take a lot of credit for these ideas. But one thing that was really funny that you saw us come up with these like cool, wacky ideas. But one of them is Furkan, right, from Founders Inc., who was like one of the first ever investors in Buildspace. He always had this like really cool philosophy. When we're thinking about anything that's related to growth, he would always be like, okay, like think about that program or loop, right? The user experience end to end, and does it make it feel like 1 + 1 = 3? And it's such a
Mm,
weird question, but eventually you started to like really understand what that meant. It's like, okay, like through, even if it's a type form, right? Are there any of these like little things that could add like a K factor to your product to make people who come in get excited about inviting other people? So I think one of the most successful things that worked really well was like the buddy pass. So we noticed that a bunch of people just procrastinate when they're applying to a program and then wait till like
Hmm.
literally the last moment to submit their application. And so I think we saw like 60% or actually 40% of the applications would come by the application deadline.
Hmm.
10% people will apply normally or something like that. And then like a vast majority of them, what would happen is people would get in and start tweeting all these assets and taking over the timeline and being so excited. And then they would come and start FOMOing in. And then we'd give everyone who got accepted buddy pass where they can just send a form with like one line, which is email to people. And then they would get auto accepted into like, basically like if you're in, here's 2 passes to bring your friends into Buildspace this Nights and Weekends
Okay.
program. And then that would usually just freaking cook, because most of the people who get in are full of euphoria. They're so excited. The way we designed it, make it feel like they got into some cool program, but there's tens of thousands of people in it. But we spoke like directly to them with our copy. And so they'd be like, yo, bro, I just got into this program. You should come and build something with me or, make videos about your League of Legends conquests or, whatever.
Yeah,
So yeah, that was like pretty cool.
that's cool. And the other one you mentioned probably off air was something about it was like the final pitch competition day. You made like
Yeah. Yeah. Final 32. So
yeah.
basically, builders are like, we're doing all this hard work to build the program, but if we don't create as many interactions as humanly possible to go win on the internet, kind of like actually I was talking about with Breakpoint, right?
Mhm.
And build a platform for a lot of these people, then we're not doing enough. And so at the end of the 6 weeks, the team would go through the grueling process of reviewing most, if not all, of the applications, especially the people who submitted over 4 or 5 weeks of updates, and make an entire short list of like about 64 people, something like that, and then send them a form to submit like the latest update, and they would literally show like the Stripe dashboard and analytics and like give us like insight into where their business is, fully async over the internet, and then we choose 32 people to compete in this like weird mix of like America's Got Talent meets Street Fighter meets like live voting, and then give out like basically 100 grand to like 4 of the winners as like fully equity free grants. And it was crazy because you'd have like a musician going against like an AI app, and then like a crypto founder like going against like someone building like a sustainable wedding business or something like that. But it was really crazy because we would like live stream that on Twitch or Twitter, and then have like thousands of people participating, like actually voting, doing like a 1 or 2, and then like people get selected and pass to the end, and it was really cool. But yeah, it's got like final 32.
Yeah. So you were saying though, with that one, like trying to growth hack that one a little bit, you would
Yeah,
make like
custom landing
cards,
pages.
landing pages
Yeah,
for them.
yeah, landing
So
pages and
you would go,
cards.
yeah. So you would go through and like make an actual landing page for all 32 of them,
Yeah,
right? And then
yeah,
just
with
have
their
them share that with their friends.
face, with their house color, even because we had 4 houses, right? Spectre Seek, Altrock, Godmire, and Ereval. And each house had its own lore. They had its own curated Spotify playlist where we curate songs that give like the vibe of the people. This was like the onboarding mechanism. Like, let me see if the website is up actually. So if you go to like uh, might not be since.
That's actually super cool.
Oh
I really like it.
yeah, check this
Here,
out.
send me the link.
I'll
I'll put
drop
it in
it.
the show notes.
I'll drop it here. Spectre Seek, right? Like this is all stuff with that. Such a chef. Um, Godmire. And so we do these things too, where we would drop like wallpaper packs, like phone wallpaper pack, desktop wallpaper pack, and
Yeah.
then have like people. It's crazy. People put that in their bio, like Arivald at Buildspace with this like Twitter
Yeah.
banner and stuff. And yeah, man, that was like really freaking cool. And then I think one thing that also really unlocked stuff towards the tail end is like we made the Chrome extension. It was like a Chrome extension that was your default landing page,
Mm,
where we made it look like a computer screen with folders and stuff. And yeah, I don't know how the hell Stava did it. He made it on Framer, and that became
mm.
like your operating system during nights and weekends. So every time you
That's
open your computer, your reminders are there. He puts in fun videos and pictures and references to the last lectures and stuff like that. And but there's really cool consumer product experience around the program, you know?
yeah, that is a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
I mean, like all of this sounds amazing, and it's awesome if it's like your main focus, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like for like someone else to do it, it's like, man, you need a team to like do all of this,
Yeah.
like run all of this stuff. But it's amazing,
It
and like,
evolved into that over like 5 iterations, right? Like the
yeah,
first one was like a form and then like emails and then like, like Twitter live streams. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's so lo-fi. Yeah.
The house thing, like the Harry Potter house thing, is so sick. Like
Yeah.
I like that got me fired up thinking about like what house I would be in, like curating Spotify playlists for it. You know, like you have
Yeah.
like a lo-fi house, you have like a boom bap, East Coast rap house, you have
Yeah.
like, like techno kind of house or whatever.
I'll
And
send
just
it to
like
you.
those.
There's a video. And like there's
Okay.
like a launch video of the houses. And what they did is they took a lot of like popular like movie scenes or scenes from
Yeah.
different animes where either there was like a large representation of that color, green, red, yellow, or blue,
Yeah.
or a feeling associated with that house, that was
Yeah.
expressed with a tint on top. And that was a
Yeah.
freaking cook, bro. Yeah.
Dude, that does cook. That's sick. Like, still one of my favorite videos on Instagram, and I won't do it justice, but is like this guy. He does Harry Potter memes, and
Yeah.
he's
Oh
like
yeah,
he's a
the Voldemort cosplay and stuff, right? Yeah. He's
no,
like
yeah,
Snape.
maybe, but this guy's a rapper, so he'll make raps
Oh,
out of Harry
damn.
Potter stuff. And like he's got like one of the funniest ones I think he has is like he's got Slither in the background. It's like the Slytherin house. He's dressed
Yeah.
up in Slytherin uniform and he's mixing potions and like there's some like trap music going on in the background and it's like when your potions go so hard you get invited to like the Slytherin parties or whatever. And he's just like mixing up it's like he's mixing up drugs. And
Yo, that's hilarious,
uh,
bro.
dude, some of his like Harry Potter stuff is so funny. But
Yeah.
like that's the stuff you could do with this. Like you made a house or you made like
Yeah.
houses, you could have competitions between the houses. You could have like meme competitions between the houses.
Yeah.
Um and I'm so down with like trying to fire that up for Midcurve. Because I mean we've launched our Discord now. We have people in there. We're doing like a moonwalk thing
Challenge.
where
Yeah, I
we
saw that. It was
yeah,
really
we have like
cool.
the moonwalk challenge going on, which by the way, we have 350 people in there. Is like it's the biggest
Wow.
game on moonwalk right now, um, which is cool. So and like we're doing all this stuff, but yeah, like this what you just said, I think about like that was invaluable. Like talking about like building communities and just all like yeah everything you just said was amazing. I think founders should like really listen to that and figure out like how they're going to get their marketing teams on this type of stuff. And who's doing this really well is Monad because I think
Yeah.
they actually do have houses already. Like they already have like three groups. I'm not
Is
in it, and
it
I
based
don't
on
really
like the character, like the
based on their
Molenbeek and stuff?
characters. I think
Okay. Yeah.
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 I'm not in it and I don't know for sure, but I see like the memes going around and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think they've actually kind of started to do that. But um, another question I had for you was when you're running campaigns like this, this whole like 6 week thing, what do you think is a good timeline? Do you think 6 weeks is a good timeline for people? Because my problem is always like, oh, it's too short for people to like actually get anything done, or is it too long that people actually lose interest in it? Right. So in your experience, how long
Yeah.
do you think some of these things should last?
I think it depends, right? Like
Yeah.
our purpose was to like get people to build their own idea like
Yeah.
very quickly. And 6 weeks is not quick. That's like actually like a pretty long like commitment. And I think a
Yeah.
traditional hackathon is anywhere from like 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah.
But maybe you get a lot more throughput because people see it as a low time investment, high return on investment because mostly they're there for capital. I
Hmm.
think something in the middle can actually work really well, where you can design like internet native touch points with people who are participating. It could feel kind of like a fellowship more than like a
Hmm.
accelerator or incubator or something like that. I really like the fellowship aesthetic. And then have like, and I think like one of the philosophies we're talking about is like this like climbing Everest mental philosophy. If you want someone to
Mhm.
climb Everest, you can't have them go do, like, run it up like on their first try. Like first you got to make them do a trek, and then a hike, and then the first summit. Hopefully scale a mountain, and eventually get to Everest. So you kind of design that, for your community. So sometimes
Mhm.
you find a lot of diamonds in the rough who are extremely technically talented, have the soft skills, will come up with a banging idea and win. But a lot of times you see like the dividends paid from these like people who are just like in the early innings, who are willing to contribute their most valuable asset, which is time, to just like tinker and build and make friends.
Mhm.
So I think it can be done shorter, actually. Yeah. It can be
Okay.
done fully async. It can be done fully on the internet. And it can still feel like, you're like with your homies building stuff.
Yeah.
That's the like vibe, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, that's a good. That's good insight, I think, because
Because
yeah,
what
I've
are
been
you
trying to
people
figure out.
thinking? Like, what's like, maybe give us like a high level breakdown on like what we're looking to manifest here?
Yeah, yeah. So what I think what we're looking to manifest here is something very similar to what you're talking about, but really, like Lucas said it in one of our videos we did not too long ago. He's like, my second job is to like bring people into Solana, get people building
Yeah.
on Solana, right?
Yeah.
And so he's always like tweeting at people if they have a good idea, but they're building on ETH. It's like, yo, bro, you building that on Solana?
Yeah.
Like, um, so I think part of what we're looking to do, I mean that is the overall goal. How we're
Yeah.
looking to do that is like one, I guess a primary goal of us because we are Jitos, we want people building on Jito restaking. But
Yeah.
honestly, I'm okay with people just building on Solana in general as well.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things we're looking to do is like week one, we do like a technical session where we have the super teams invite their communities in, and we do a technical session with one of our devs, talking about like building on one Solana, but building on Jito restaking as well. I'm kind of
Mm-hmm.
teaching people the ins and outs. Week two, we do an ideation session,
Mm-hmm.
where we talk to we bring people in. We maybe have like Lucas from Jito and a few other guys from around the ecosystem on the call, and we just talk about like what they would like to see built or what would be a good idea. Maybe start bouncing ideas around with the community themselves, and they can like get
Yeah.
access to these people who have built big projects. Maybe we bring Mert in,
Yeah.
um, and a few other guys. And then week three, I think we do like a pitch session, like a localized track where they pitch to the local super team leaders. Super team leaders can then choose a few winners, or some of the best ideas, and those ideas will go on to the regional track where they'll pitch to like Lucas and a few other guys. And then we hand out, like, again, high level, nothing's in stone, but we hand out some like some
Yeah.
awards, as far as like maybe some cash, and then also like if your idea is good enough, like we were talking about bringing some like Animoca ventures, the Animoca fund on,
Yeah.
and seeing if they were interested in like maybe even funding one of these projects if it's a
Yeah.
good idea, right? Like, so it could be a
Be
good
like
way to
a
raise capital.
fun Shark Tank type of thing too at the end.
It's
Like
almost
make
like a
like
Shark
make it
Tank
fun.
thing. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't want to do like the whole play off the Shark Tank vibe because it's like they tried to do that crypto Shark Tank show and it was just like,
Yeah, but that's
oh,
just cringe,
that was so
right?
cringy. It was so cringy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is like this, I really want to go with more of like that, like actually what you did at Buildspace, like that, more of that vibe. Ground up, grassroots, community building, like build in
Yeah.
public, scrappy, hack on stuff, let's see
Yeah.
what we can get done. Right. And so that's kind of the overarching idea for this campaign, that we've been bouncing around. I think it would be really cool to have like you guys involved. Um, you
We're in,
know,
bro.
yeah,
Just let us
maybe,
know what we
maybe
need
we
to
do
do.
some Solana Economic Zone stuff. Maybe we go there. I don't know, but yeah, this is just kind of what's been bouncing around in my head for a
Yeah.
while.
I think cooking
I think
like
it'd
an
be cool.
internet native program is a really good idea. And
Yeah.
then maybe, the amazing thing is like you have this like entire like machine built with like Coliseum.
Yeah.
But with it kind of getting product market fit, it's like hard for them to scale and maybe touch on some of the other like non-technical or differentiated products within the ecosystem. And what could be cool is like if through this we help like give again like the soft skills right to people
Mhm.
to like make something really interesting that conveys their idea and is like maybe just a little usable. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like even like the local, I love the regional pitch competition idea, but if it was just like a Cheeto timeline takeover, right? Of like
Yeah.
all of these people, giving them a template, teaching them how to use like I forgot the name of that software. There's some simple software that we use to make people edit like a 45-second demo and make it like pretty fire.
Hmm.
Or even we can give fractional content support, right? And like bring
Yeah.
on like an editor that I know could like touch up that shit, make them
Yep.
like make their first impressive thing, and then give them a little bit of love on our socials. Could go a long way. You know what I'm saying?
You're good.
Yeah,
That's actually a great idea. And yes,
yeah,
I'm totally down with like I agree with you 100% with the soft skills thing. I was thinking about like after this whole campaign is kind of done, that could lead up to a maybe like a 1 or 2 day thing at the port in Miami where we bring people
vibes.
in and we do like a kind of like a soft skill conference type thing where we talk
Yeah,
about BD, we talk about marketing, we talk about
tweeting.
copywriting, tweeting,
Yeah.
exactly like literally just talking, teaching people how to copyright better.
Yeah. And we have like
Because like
epic content too, right? Like I've been
yes,
like obsessed with the stuff that y'all have been shipping lately. Like it just builds so much like depth, you know, with like your audience, and it builds so much collective trust too. Like seeing like a
yeah,
spearhead figure, or like following storyline, like you know, or like really like building lore. You know what I'm saying? It's
building
like,
lore.
yeah,
I really do want to build more lore around Lucas and Zano because
yeah,
they're both really interesting characters. In like when you hang out with them in real life,
yeah,
they're so fun. And they're both really interesting. And you don't really get to see that too much because they're so busy with what they're doing. They're not
yeah,
online all the time, just like, fooling around. They're actually like building things. Um, but like, I really want to get their story out there and show them for who they are as people.
yeah.
So I think we're going to start doing a lot more of that as well. I think would be
I
really
love
fun.
that.
Anyway,
Yeah, it's crazy
yeah.
because Zano came to Argentina and then just like half a day later, like he basically had landed. Next day he starts playing like a hour-long DJ set, absolutely cooking. I'm like, what's going on here, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? He straight up landed, and then it's like sees a CDJ, USB comes out, headphones come out, and then he's just
Yeah,
at the locked-in factory cooking
man,
absolute
Zano
heat, bro. I was like, wow.
Zano is so funny. We were at some offsite somewhere, and he like rented DJ equipment and like had it to got like brought it to the house, and then he's just
Hell
like
yeah.
playing his set, practicing, like just married to the game. You know what I mean?
I
Like
love
the
that.
re- the rest of us are
Yeah.
hanging out playing poker or something, and Zano's just like over in the corner, just like mixing mixing it up.
Dude, that's elite. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
really fun. It's really fun.
yeah. He's so funny. And yeah, like Zano is. He's just like, again, I don't know if I told the story on the podcast, but he last day in Singapore, like I'm cooked. I've been running around for like 5 or 6 days at this point. So I'm taking a nap before I have to fly out, and I get this call from Zano. Bro, come down here. I'm gonna fight this UFC fighter, Darren Till. He's like, you gotta film, you gotta film it. I was like, okay. So I like wake myself up, drag myself out of
Were
bed.
you not like what? Like how?
Yeah, I was like, how did this even happen? He's like, oh, I saw him at the Solana conference. He was having a hard time getting in, and I walked up and like helped him get his ticket and stuff. I was like, yo, I know who you are. He's like, do you want to go to the gym and go a few rounds?
Wow, that's elite, dude.
Yeah. So then we showed up, and Darren was like,
Video about this, right? I love that
yeah,
because like Darren was actually in it, like talking about
yeah,
like
yeah. Darren's
just
in it.
building up Solana and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, they're building something on Solana, so it like worked out. And then like him and Zano just rolled. And Darren turned out to be a super nice guy. Like we're probably gonna
yeah.
do some stuff with him in the future. We're trying to get it. We're trying. Zano wants to bring him to Vegas in December because we're all gonna be there, and he wants to like just hang out, play poker, and like fight and train with him. So,
Yeah, the series needs to happen. Like, have you ever
yeah.
watched like the Munchies shows like Vice
Oh
used to make? You know
yeah.
the From Paris with Love with Action Bronson and Clovis Ochine? Dude,
Yes.
that is like that's one life goals for me and my one of my favorite pieces of content ever. Like, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Oh,
Yeah.
one. He still makes those, and he's making them with
Yeah.
Clovis.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're just
recently, right? They just dropped one like a few months ago. I saw.
no. They're coming out like they've released 3 or 4 new ones over the
No
last like
way.
two
I need to
months.
catch
Yeah,
up.
he's on his so Action Bronson is on his tour, his European tour right now. So
Very
they're
cool.
making these videos right now. In fact, I think a new one just came out, and I haven't watched the whole thing yet.
No
But
way.
Clovis is in it. There's one super funny one where they go to this food cart after a show. I don't remember where it was, like Austria somewhere, and the guy had like ghost peppers on his
Yeah.
curry, like go,
Oh
and they
my
didn't
god.
know. Like both, I don't know how Action and Clovis didn't realize how hot ghost peppers are,
Dude,
but
because
they
they're
both,
like drunk and stoned at the same time all the time, dude. That's
yeah,
why.
exactly,
Publicly on the camera, this is what they do.
yeah. But
But
it was so funny.
doesn't he have like a
They
brother named Body or something like that too? Like the
Oh,
most
big
casual
no, that's his cousin, Big Body
cousin.
Best.
Yeah, yeah. Big
Yeah,
Body,
Big,
bro. Love that
Big
dude too.
Body Best is one of the funniest characters on YouTube, hands.
Unintentionally, absolutely hilarious, dude.
Yes, hilarious. And I don't know. There's one. I think it's White Bronco. It might be White Bronco. I don't remember. But there's a music
Yeah,
video that Action
yeah,
did, and Body's in it. And the whole time, Body is just sitting. Like, and by the way, this guy's like probably, I don't know, 280 pounds, maybe 300. He's just like this
yeah.
huge, like Albanian cat, and he's sitting on this white horse in the entire for the entire music video,
This
and he's
is
just
so
like,
hilarious.
and he's just rapping, and his only line, like Body's only line, I think in the song is like, "And when I die, make sure you spread my blood on a BMW." Like
Oh
for the
my god, dude. That's tough. That's tough.
yeah,
Wow.
he's
And
so
see,
funny.
this is the type of stuff where we need this kind of lore and sauce like on Solana. But it's been happening. Like even
Yeah,
recently, I mean, y'all's content, Drift's content in Singapore, I was
yeah,
genuinely so impressed by like, just like sitting with like these like lawn chairs on the street, like kind of like
yeah.
interviewing
That one was
homies,
good.
having wine. Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was
Like
they went to a food cart place, which I'm not gonna lie, I feel like they stole my idea a little bit. I'm gonna call Chris
because that
out.
was the interview, right? The
Yeah,
Seeker and Mert interview first. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. They
Yeah.
stole my idea a little bit. That's fine, because Chris is a homie of mine now, and I'm not gonna be mad
Yeah.
at him.
Yeah. Hey, Virgil says that, bro. Best artists got a copy.
You got to
They
copy.
inspired.
I
You know
mean,
what I'm saying?
Picasso said that as well, but he said like, good artists copy, great artists steal.
Yeah.
And I actually have the book "Steal Like an Artist" sitting right over here.
Facts.
Um,
I've been thinking a lot about that actually. Like last
yeah.
like few weeks, me and like Ara is like the head of storytelling, like at
Hmm.
Forma, and like we've just been like marinating and just spending as much time as possible building like a huge like inspo repository, like a
Yeah.
browsable, like a visual mood board, but with videos and films and stuff like that. Just to kind of set the tone before we go in, because like we did this stuff in such a rush, like
Yeah.
zero to live in like 2 months, like just like put together a production crew and shot and tried to like make it work and have like the same like color correction, everything. But next time I think like we want to like really lean into the
Branding.
storytelling and the yeah, like build like when someone sees that on text, they should be like, oh shit, I'm about to watch like a Forma video or like a Midcurve video,
Yeah.
like
Uh,
yeah,
branding is incredibly important. Unfortunately, in crypto, like we don't place a huge emphasis on it.
yeah.
But it is
It's
such
just
like a
deep for
cycle.
short attention span.
Exactly. And it's, yeah. But it's such a psychological thing. Like
Yeah,
I've worked in like, on the agency side for,
yeah,
creative agency, video agency, whatever, before I did all this crypto stuff. And like brand books are so expensive. Like you could easily spend 250 grand for an agency to do your brand book. Um,
wow,
but that's because like, honestly, it's kind of that important. It's your visual identity. It kind of informs all your decision making, going forward. I mean, everything down to like the detail of like your font
yeah.
spacing, color, everything, right? All this has like a psychological impact on the user, and we don't really think about that in crypto a whole lot. Just kind of put together, and everything tends to look the same.
Yeah.
But it's definitely important.
It's gonna start though, you know.
Yeah, like honestly, also like when you go back and look at brands, they evolve over time, right?
Yeah,
So it's like it's better, in my opinion, to not get hung up on the perfection at the beginning. It's just like kind of like it's like the Solana mindset, right? Ship, then iterate, and eventually
yeah,
your brand will kind of form into what it's supposed to be. I also think, and this is what I've learned over the years, just like always like working in the creative industry, is like you always have an idea of what you want something to be, but I think creativity comes from like the outside, like and I think that it has an idea of what it needs to be. So like with videos and
Yeah.
stuff, I always have like an idea, but I hold it with a loose fist because like when you're making the story or like when you're filming or whatever, you like really want it to be a certain way and you have a certain message you want to get across. But when you start shooting it and when you start putting it together and editing it, it becomes like sometimes it tells you the story, right? You don't tell
Mm.
it the story. And it becomes something else, or it becomes a different way on how to tell the story. And like many writers talk about this, the ancient Greeks have talked about this. Like creativity was like these, these goddesses basically that told you what it
Yeah.
was. It wasn't you. You're just the channel for that thing. So when you're putting together a brand or any of your creative stuff, like obviously, like you have this idea, you want to think it through, whatever. But over time, it will tell you what it is, and it will kind of
Facts.
come into focus for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's taking input from like one yourself, but also your users, right? You
Yeah.
take and all this other inspiration that's around you. It kind of just like pulls itself into focus. I think so. I'm not like long story short. I'm not worried about getting it perfect the first time. It's all about
Yeah,
just getting
yeah. I
that
mean, it's supposed to be messy, like spaghetti, and then
message.
eventually evolve into some refined Italian pasta, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Which I was
but
talking about that with my wife last night because we made some really good burrata pasta, and we're Italian.
y'all do like hand roll pasta?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
So
amazing.
so we make pasta. My mom makes like for Christmas every year. She makes handmade. Her and my
Yeah,
sisters make handmade ravioli, and it's like I was talking about this with Laura. It's funny, like Americans love Italian food, place such an emphasis on Italian food, but it really and it is good. It is good, but it is so simple, and there's not very
yeah,
much variation to Italian food, right? Like people don't understand Asian food, Middle Eastern food is insane.
yeah,
It's like infinite variations and spices and like it's just
yeah,
and complexity to the dishes and like I just don't think we put enough emphasis on like Asian and Middle Eastern food here in the States. This is all a side note, obviously. I'm getting
yeah.
off track, but I'm passionate about food.
That's why we got to go, man. Next time you're in Dubai, I'll take you on a food tour. I know
Oh,
everything from like the bougie restaurants to like the street carts here. You know what I'm
let's
saying?
let's go. Let's go. I
Yeah,
would love it. We should do that and we should just film it. We should film an Action
yeah,
Bronson. We should film an Action Bronson style thing. We should talk about like starting businesses and
yeah.
starting and like bringing founders into crypto, and we should eat amazing food. That's what we should do.
Yeah, I'm so down. And I can take you
Uh,
and show you kind of these like zones too, right? It used to literally
yeah,
be a pile of sand, and now they've like turned into like million square foot like mega hubs. It's like it's kind of
Dubai,
crazy. You have to see the before and after in person. Yeah,
Dubai isn't real. It's a
yeah.
crazy place. It's so wild.
Facts.
All right, man. Let's wrap this one up because now we're just rambling about stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was like a great. I like this. This was like a great ideation session. And honestly, I think there's a lot of value in what you had to say. In fact, I'm going to use some of the stuff you talked about
All
for
of it
this.
if you'd like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I,
And I'll send you a
so,
bunch of like the stuff too that I think like we did pretty well that y'all could probably like fork and like reduce some of the lift of um, building this out,
yeah,
because that's what I think people always miss is like you can have like that connection with the people who go through your program. Um, yeah, and it's not that hard to like create.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I think this is a great idea. And like for me, yeah, I don't know. I just really want to build a cool community of like
Yeah.
homies,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
not to belabor this conversation, but um, I told Tole this too. The reason that I stuck around for Solana was the culture and the people
100%.
I met at Breakpoint. Like honestly, I found Solana because it was fast and cheap, and I loved it. Like I think I might be the first person, one of the first people into Solana, honestly, because I heard about it before it
Wow.
even launched from a VC that I was working with in Asia. They were the first check written to Solana,
Oh,
and that's
wow.
how I heard about it. I remember in Berlin. I've told the story before, but I remember in Berlin being in the Uber and being like, we found this guy. I know this guy totally. He's starting this thing. It's gonna be sweet. Solana, blah blah blah. I went home, researched it, and then when it came out, I was in it. I was game. But what kept me here was like, or what kept me so, I guess what hooked me to go
Yeah.
so deep into it and not just be a user was going to that first breakpoint, meeting people, hanging out, just like all the cool people, like Tommy and Taylor, the twins that started SI options and like now
Yeah.
are doing other stuff. Like meeting those guys, super nice guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, just meeting a bunch of the team and like becoming IRL friends. That's
Yeah.
I think that's what it's about, and like just building stuff with the homies. You know what I mean?
Facts. Yeah.
So that's what we need to build here. I think we need a partnership between like Midcurve and Forma, and we team up with like some of the like fitness apps, Moonwalk and Golfin, and we just like create this cabal of like, let's build a community, let's have fun, whatever you're into, whether that's fitness, whether that's golf, whether that's building stuff, whether that's content creation.
Yeah.
Um, this is where you do it, right?
Facts. Yeah. There's no better place to do it.
There's no better. Right
Matter of
there, end
fact.
it. Done. Fact. Okay.